Get in. Let me take you home. Single mom helps an old man walk in the rain. The next day is... Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. The rain poured down relentlessly as Emma sped through the streets of the city. She had just finished her shift at the diner and was headed home, exhausted but thankful that her daughter, Lily, would soon be back from her grandmother's house. It had been a long day, and Emma's mind was preoccupied with thoughts of bills and groceries. The heavy rain blurred her vision as she drove through the foggy streets, the windshield wipers moving furiously back and forth. Suddenly, as she pulled up to a red light, she noticed an old man standing on the corner of the sidewalk, his body hunched under a threadbare coat, trying to shield himself from the downpour. His frail figure seemed so out of place in the middle of the storm. Emma's heart softened. Without a second thought, she rolled down the window and called out, "Hey, do you need a ride?" The man turned slowly, startled by her voice. His face was weathered, his eyes tired, but there was a sense of gratitude in his gaze. He nodded slowly, and Emma unlocked the passenger door. "Thank you," the man said quietly as he climbed in, shivering. Emma smiled gently, her heart swelling with a sense of doing something right for once. "No need to thank me. It's the least I can do." The old man settled into the seat, his teeth chattering. "Where are you headed?" she asked, glancing at him. He hesitated for a moment, then spoke in a raspy voice. "I'm just trying to get home. I don't have much left, but I'd be grateful if you could drop me off at the corner of Maple Street." Emma nodded, starting the car and pulling back into traffic. The rain kept falling heavily, but now the car felt warmer, more comforting. The man glanced at her, again, studying her face for a moment. "You're very kind," he murmured. "Most people wouldn't have stopped." Emma shrugged, trying to hide the lump that formed in her throat. "We all need help sometimes." "It's nothing," she said, but inside, she felt the weight of the man's words. For a brief moment, their worlds seemed to connect. As the car cruised through the rainy streets, Emma stole a glance at the man. His appearance was humble, but there was something about him, a quiet dignity, perhaps, that piqued her curiosity. He wasn't like the people she usually encountered, and despite his weathered look, there was a calmness in his demeanor that made her feel at ease. The drive was short, and soon enough, they reached his destination. He thanked her again, his voice soft with appreciation. "God bless you, ma'am. I'll never forget this," he said, stepping out into the rain. Emma watched him walk away, disappearing into the misty night, before driving off, her mind still lingering on the encounter. Little did she know, this simple act of kindness was about to change her life in ways she could never have imagined. The next day, Emma woke up to the sound of the rain still falling outside her small apartment. The storm had passed, but the cold gray sky remained, casting a gloomy shadow over the city. She stood in front of the mirror, brushing her hair as she mentally prepared for another day of balancing her job at the diner and taking care of Lily, her young daughter. The previous evening's encounter with the old man replayed in her mind. She couldn't stop thinking about his tired, grateful eyes and the quiet dignity that had radiated from him despite his apparent hardships. Emma had helped many people before, but this time it felt different, as if something significant had just begun. As she headed to the kitchen, she checked her phone. A new message popped up from her boss. "Don't forget, we're short-staffed today. Be here at 7. I need you." She sighed and sent a quick reply, then went to check on Lily, who was still fast asleep. Lily had a day off school because of the rainstorm, and Emma was thankful for the extra time to spend with her daughter before heading out to work. After making a quick breakfast of cereal and toast, she kissed Lily on the forehead. "I'll see you later, baby. Be good for Grandma, okay?" Lily nodded sleepily, already curling up with her favorite stuffed animal on the couch. Emma grabbed her coat and left the apartment, heading straight for the diner. The day dragged on as usual. It was busy, noisy, and exhausting. Emma barely had time to think. But during a short break in between shifts, she noticed something unusual. There, sitting at one of the tables near the back, was the old man from the night before. He looked different today, well-dressed, clean-shaven. He was sipping coffee, calmly reading a newspaper. Emma blinked, wondering if her mind was playing tricks on her. She stepped closer, and as soon as he noticed her, he smiled warmly. "Hello, ma'am. It's good to see you again." His voice was clear, confident, and much stronger than the night before. "I didn't expect to see you here," Emma said, her heart skipping a beat. She couldn't hide the surprise in her voice. He chuckled softly. "I know this must seem strange, but I wanted to thank you properly for your kindness." Emma felt a little uncomfortable. "There's really no need," she said. "I just did what anyone would do." The old man shook his head, his eyes softening. "Not everyone would. You didn't ask for anything in return, and that says a lot about you." Emma wasn't sure how to respond. She wasn't used to receiving compliments like this. She wasn't sure why he was here, but something about his presence made her feel uneasy and yet curious. The old man set down the newspaper and looked at her more seriously now. "I wanted to ask if you'd be interested in meeting with me. I've been thinking about our conversation from last night, and I believe you could help me with something important." Emma blinked in confusion. "Help you with something?" He nodded. "I'm a business owner. I've been looking for someone who's honest, hardworking, and has a genuine heart. I believe you have those qualities, and I want to offer you a chance to work with me. It's a project that could change your life." Emma didn't know what to think. She had barely just met this man, and now he was offering her something she could only dream about. "I'm not sure what you mean," she said, still processing what he had said. "What exactly are you offering?" The old man smiled again. "A partnership. You help me with a project, and in return, I'll make sure your financial troubles are taken care of. Think of it as an opportunity for both of us. I believe in investing in people who have the right heart, and I think you're one of those people." Emma's mind raced. Was this real? Could it be that someone like her, someone struggling to make ends meet, could actually have a chance to change her life? The idea was almost too good to be true. She had always dreamed of something more for herself and Lily, but she had never imagined it might come from someone like him. She glanced around the diner, the noise and bustle of everyday life surrounding her. She felt out of place. She wasn't sure if she should trust him, but something in her gut told her that this was an opportunity she couldn't ignore. After a few moments of hesitation, she finally nodded. "Okay," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'll meet with you, but I don't know what I can offer." The old man's smile widened, and for the first time, she saw a glimmer of excitement in his eyes. "You'll find out soon enough. I'll have my assistant contact you to set up a meeting." With that, he stood up and walked out of the diner, leaving Emma standing there, still trying to process everything that had just happened. Was she ready for what was coming next? The following day, Emma received a call from the old man's assistant, as promised. She was instructed to meet him at a nearby hotel, a place she would never have imagined stepping foot in on her own. The concierge at the entrance greeted her warmly, as if they had been expecting her, and Emma couldn't help but feel a bit out of place in the luxurious lobby. The marble floors shimmered under the soft lighting, and the scent of fresh flowers filled the air. She had never been in a setting like this before. The assistant, a sharp-dressed woman with an air of professionalism, led her to a private room on the top floor. When the door opened, Emma was greeted by the old man, who was now dressed in a well-tailored suit, his face much younger than it had appeared the night before. He looked like a completely different person. "Please, have a seat," he said, gesturing to a comfortable chair opposite his desk. Emma hesitated for a moment, still trying to process everything, then sat down. The room was filled with the faint hum of city life outside, but inside, there was an unsettling calmness that made her nervous. The old man smiled, clearly aware of her discomfort. "I know this all must seem overwhelming," he said, "but I wouldn't have offered this opportunity if I didn't believe in you." Emma swallowed hard, still unsure of where this was going. "What exactly is this project?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. He leaned forward, his hands clasped together. "I run a very successful company, but what I truly need right now is someone who can bring fresh ideas, someone who isn't afraid to speak their mind and challenge the norm. I've seen a lot of people, but you, Emma, you have a different spark." She could feel her heart racing, unsure whether she should be flattered or cautious. "I'm not sure I'm the right person for something like that," she said, shaking her head. "I don't have any formal training, just life experience." The old man smiled gently. "That's exactly what makes you perfect. Your life experience, your empathy, your ability to connect with others. Those are qualities money can't buy. I need someone who understands people. Emma didn't know how to respond. This was all so new to her. She had always been taught to work hard and keep her head down, never expecting things to just fall into place. But here she was, being offered a chance to do something that could change her life. I'm offering you a position within my company, a role where your ideas and your voice will matter, he continued. You'll be managing a team, leading projects, and making decisions that could impact thousands of lives. It's not just about the money, Emma. It's about the impact you can make. Emma felt her pulse quicken. The idea of managing a team, leading projects, it all seemed so foreign. But at the same time, the thought of being able to provide a better life for Lily, to finally feel like she was not just surviving but thriving, made her want to take a leap of faith. I don't know what to say, Emma whispered, still overwhelmed. The old man leaned back in his chair, his eyes softening. You don't have to say anything yet. Take your time, think it over. But remember, this is a chance that doesn't come around often. I'm offering you a way out of the cycle you've been stuck in. Emma sat there, her mind swirling with possibilities and doubts. She thought of Lily and the life they could have if she accepted. She thought of the struggle she'd faced for so long, trying to make ends meet. Could this be her way out? Could she really make a difference? The old man's words echoed in her mind, and for the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to believe that something good could happen. After a long pause, Emma nodded slowly. Okay, she said, her voice steady. I'll do it. I'll take the opportunity. The old man's smile widened, and he stood up, offering his hand. Welcome aboard, Emma. I knew you had it in you. She took his hand, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and fear. This was just the beginning, and she didn't know where it would take her, but for the first time, she felt like she was on the right path. The following week, Emma began her new role at the company, though she still couldn't quite believe it. She had spent the past few days getting accustomed to the office, meeting the team, and learning about the projects she would oversee. It was a lot to take in, but Emma had always been a quick learner. She had to be. She didn't have the luxury of time, especially when it came to Lily's future. As she walked into the office that morning, she felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Today was her first big meeting, where she would present her ideas to the board. She had spent hours preparing, making sure her thoughts were clear and ready. She knew this was her chance to prove that she belonged here, but doubts still lingered in her mind. What if they didn't take her seriously? What if she failed? The door to the conference room opened, and Emma walked in. The team members, all well-dressed and polished, turned to look at her. She swallowed hard, but she knew this was her moment. Good morning, everyone, she said, her voice steady despite the nerves she was feeling. She could feel her heart pounding as she placed her notes on the table. I'm Emma, and I'm excited to share some ideas with you today. The old man, whom she now knew as Mr. Parker, sat at the head of the table. He smiled at her encouragingly, nodding as if he trusted her completely. Emma took a deep breath and began. I've been thinking a lot about how we can improve the way we connect with our customers, she started, her confidence growing with each word. She had studied the company's processes, analyzed the market, and looked at competitors. We need to create a more personal experience. Something that stands out. Something that makes people feel valued. The room was silent as the team listened intently. Emma spoke about the potential for better customer service, personalized marketing, and community outreach. She explained her vision of a more human-centered approach, one that would allow the company to not just sell products but build relationships. When she finished, there was a brief moment of quiet. Emma held her breath, waiting for feedback. Finally, Mr. Parker spoke. I like what I'm hearing, he said, his voice warm. This is exactly the kind of fresh perspective we need. We've been too focused on numbers and profits, and I believe your approach can help us reconnect with our audience. Emma felt a wave of relief wash over her. The room seemed to lighten, and the board members started to discuss her ideas with interest. For the first time, she felt like she truly belonged here. After the meeting, Mr. Parker pulled her aside. You did well today, he said, his tone appreciative. You've got a good head on your shoulders, Emma. I'm glad I trusted my instincts. Emma smiled, grateful for his support. She had always doubted herself, but now, for the first time, she felt like she had a chance to truly succeed. That night, she couldn't wait to tell Lily about her first meeting and how things were starting to look up. She was still working hard, but now there was hope. There was a chance that things might actually get better. As she closed her eyes that night, Emma realized that she wasn't just surviving anymore. She was building something real, something she could be proud of. And for the first time in a long time, she was excited about the future. Weeks passed, and Emma's new role began to feel less like a dream and more like her reality. She had settled into the rhythm of the company, and her ideas were being embraced. Her team respected her, and more importantly, she had gained the confidence she needed to lead. The success of her first presentation had sparked a series of positive changes, and now the company was starting to incorporate her ideas into their strategy. Emma felt like she was finally making a difference, not just at work, but in her life. However, with success came pressure. The higher she climbed, the harder it seemed to balance everything. She had to constantly juggle the responsibilities of her demanding job with the needs of Lily, who was getting older and starting to ask more questions. Emma had promised herself she would never let her daughter feel neglected. That evening, after a particularly long day, Emma found herself sitting on the couch, staring at the stack of reports on her desk. Lily was at her grandmother's house, giving Emma a rare moment of peace, but her mind raced. There were deadlines to meet, projects to oversee, and board meetings to prepare for. Her phone buzzed, interrupting her thoughts. It was a message from Mr. Parker. "I wanted to check in. How are you doing?" Emma smiled at the message. It was rare for him to be so informal, but it was a nice gesture. She typed a quick reply. "Busy but good. Thank you for checking in." She was grateful for his mentorship. He had been more than just a boss. He had become a friend and a source of inspiration. The next day, during a break between meetings, Emma found herself standing in front of the office window, looking out over the city. It had been a year since that fateful night when she had helped the old man in the rain, and she still couldn't believe how much had changed. She had gone from struggling to make ends meet to leading a team, creating a future for herself and Lily that seemed impossible just a short time ago. Emma's thoughts were interrupted when Mr. Parker approached her, his voice calm and measured. "I've been thinking about you," he said, "and I believe it's time for you to take the next step. You've done more than I ever expected in such a short time, and now it's time for you to lead on a bigger stage." Emma turned to face him, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. "What do you mean?" she asked. Mr. Parker smiled. "It's time for you to run a new division. I want you to take charge of an important project that will shape the future of this company. You'll have a team of your own, and I know you're ready." Emma's heart skipped a beat. This was it, the opportunity she had been working toward. She had no doubt she could do it, but the thought of taking on such a huge responsibility made her stomach churn. "I'm honored," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But what if I fail?" Mr. Parker placed a hand on her shoulder, his gaze steady. "Failure isn't in your nature, Emma. You've proven that time and time again. I believe in you, and now it's time for you to believe in yourself." Emma nodded slowly, feeling the weight of his words. For the first time in her life, she truly felt like she had a shot at something great. Later that evening, she returned home to find Lily curled up on the couch, watching a movie. The sight of her daughter brought a wave of calm over Emma. As she sat beside her, Lily turned to her with a bright smile. "Mom, you look happy," she said. Emma smiled back, brushing a strand of hair from Lily's face. "I am, honey. I'm really happy." And for the first time in a long time, Emma believed it. She was no longer just surviving. She was thriving. The future was no longer something to fear. It was something to look forward to. It had been a few months since Emma had taken the lead on the new project, and things were moving faster than she could have ever imagined. The division she was now overseeing was growing, and her team had already accomplished some impressive milestones. Emma had never felt more alive, and for the first time in her life, she wasn't just going through the motions. She was living with purpose. However, the pressure to keep everything running smoothly was starting to take its toll. There were endless meetings, phone calls, and deadlines. It felt like the weight of the world was on her shoulders. As much as she loved what she was doing, Emma couldn't help but feel the strain. There were moments when she wanted to call it quits, to step back and take a break. But then she thought about Lily, her daughter, and how much she was doing this for her. It kept her going. One evening, as Emma sat at her desk late into the night, she received a text from Mr. Parker. "Let's have a quick chat tomorrow. I have something important to discuss." The message left her feeling uneasy. She had no idea what it could be, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. The next day, she walked into his office, her mind racing. Mr. Parker was standing by the window, staring out at the city skyline. He turned when he heard the door open, his expression serious. "Emma," he said, motioning for her to sit down. "I want to talk about the direction of the company and where you fit into that future." Emma nodded, her heart pounding. She didn't know whether to feel excited or nervous. "You've done an outstanding job so far," Mr. Parker continued. "You've proven that you can lead, but I need to know if you're ready for something bigger." Emma felt a lump form in her throat. "Bigger?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Parker smiled. "I'm offering you the opportunity to take my place, Emma. I'm ready to step back, and I want you to be the next CEO." Emma froze. The words didn't immediately sink in. She had always respected Mr. Parker, but to think she could fill his shoes felt surreal. "I don't know if I can," she began, but Mr. Parker raised a hand to stop her. "You can. You've been preparing for this. The way you think, the way you lead. You've already demonstrated that you have what it takes." Emma's mind raced. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for, but the fear of not being ready crept in. She thought about all the challenges, all the decisions that would have to be made. Could she handle it? "This isn't just about running a company, Emma," Mr. Parker continued. "It's about creating something that lasts, something that makes a real difference. I believe you're the one who can do that." His words hit her hard. It was the kind of responsibility that would change everything. She looked at him, uncertainty written all over her face. "I'm not sure I'm ready for something like that," she admitted. Mr. Parker smiled softly, a knowing look in his eyes. "You've been ready all along. It's time to believe in yourself, just like I've always believed in you." Emma sat in silence for a moment, letting his words sink in. This was it, the decision that could change everything. She thought about her journey, the struggles, the victories, and the lessons learned along the way. It was clear to her now that this was the next step in her life. After a long pause, she looked up at Mr. Parker, her expression determined. "I'm ready," she said, her voice steady. Mr. Parker's smile widened. "I knew you would be." Emma left his office with a sense of purpose she had never felt before. She had made it. She had come so far, and now she was about to take on a new role that could change her life forever. She was ready to lead, not just for herself, but for Lily, and for the future she was building. Emma sat in her new office, looking out the large windows at the bustling city below. The excitement of her promotion had started to settle into a deep, heavy responsibility. She was now the CEO of the company, a position she had only dreamed about a year ago. But now that it was real, the pressure was more than she had expected. Her phone buzzed on the desk, a reminder of the constant stream of decisions and meetings she had to attend. It was an email from her assistant reminding her about the board meeting later that afternoon. Emma took a deep breath and smiled softly. She had made it this far, but now she had to prove she belonged here. It wasn't just about business. It was about showing her team, her family, and herself that she was ready for this challenge. That evening, after a long day of meetings and strategy sessions, Emma went home to Lily. Her daughter greeted her with a hug, as always, and Emma's heart melted. She had been so focused on work lately, but seeing Lily reminded her of why she was doing all of this. She had to build a better future for both of them. After dinner, as they sat on the couch together, Lily looked up at Emma with bright eyes. "Mom, are you happy?" she asked. Emma paused, surprised by the question. "What do you mean, sweetie?" Lily shrugged, her innocence shining through. "I just think you're working so much, but you don't smile as much anymore." Emma felt a lump form in her throat. Her daughter was right. She had been so focused on proving herself at work that she had neglected her own happiness. "I'm happy, baby," Emma said, her voice soft. "I just have a lot on my plate right now." Lily nodded, accepting the answer, but Emma could see the concern in her eyes. She knew she needed to find balance again, between her work and her life at home. The next day, Emma woke up early, ready to tackle another busy day. But as she stepped into the office, she felt a shift inside her. She had been so caught up in the whirlwind of success that she had almost forgotten why she started this journey in the first place. It wasn't just about career achievements or professional recognition. It was about creating a life that allowed her to be present for Lily, to build a future where they both could thrive. She needed to lead with heart. As she walked into the boardroom, she felt a newfound sense of calm. She was still the same Emma who had taken a chance on that offer from Mr. Parker. But now, she wasn't just trying to prove herself to others. She was proving something to herself. She had the ability to balance ambition with compassion, to lead with both her head and her heart. The meeting began, and as Emma addressed her team, she spoke with confidence and clarity. She shared her vision for the company, emphasizing the importance of integrity, creativity, and maintaining a strong sense of community within the company. She wasn't just a CEO now, she was a leader who cared. As the meeting wrapped up, one of the senior executives stood up and gave her a nod of approval. "Emma, I think you're exactly what this company needs," he said. His words felt like a validation of everything she had worked for. But more than that, it reminded her that she was capable of leading not only with her business acumen, but with her heart. Later that day, Emma took a moment to reflect on everything she had accomplished. It had been a long road to get here, and there were still challenges ahead. But she was no longer afraid. She had learned to trust herself, to trust her instincts. She knew that with each decision she made, whether in the office or at home, she was building a life that her daughter could be proud of. Emma smiled as she looked at her phone. There was a message from Mr. Parker. "I knew you had it in you. Keep pushing forward. You're doing great." Emma read the message and felt a surge of gratitude. She had made it this far because of his belief in her, but now it was time to continue on her own path, one that was uniquely hers. She was ready for whatever came next. As the months passed, Emma's life continued to unfold in ways she hadn't imagined. The company was thriving under her leadership, and her team had grown stronger, more cohesive. She was no longer just managing a division. She was shaping the future of the company, making decisions that affected not just profits, but the lives of the people who worked for her. But despite all the success, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. She was so focused on her career, on proving herself, that she had neglected something even more important, her personal happiness. It wasn't until one evening, after a long day at the office, that Emma realized just how much she had been sacrificing. She had arrived home late, the office lights still flickering in her mind, when Lily, her bright-eyed daughter, ran up to her with a hug. "Mom, can we talk?" Lily asked, her voice unusually quiet. Emma smiled softly, setting down her briefcase. "Of course, sweetie. What's on your mind?" They sat on the couch, and Lily took a deep breath before speaking. "I know you're working really hard, but do you ever get tired?" The question caught Emma off guard. She had been so wrapped up in her work that she hadn't noticed how much her daughter had been affected by her absence. "I'm sorry, honey," Emma said, her voice softening. "I didn't mean to make you feel like I wasn't here for you." Lily shook her head. "I know you're here, but sometimes it feels like you're not really here, you." "No." Emma's heart broke a little. She had always promised herself she would be there for Lily, that she would never let work get in the way of being a good mother. But now, for the first time, she saw just how much her drive for success had pulled her away from the one person who needed her the most. That night, as Emma lay in bed, she thought about everything she had achieved and everything she had lost along the way. She realized that success didn't mean much if she didn't have the balance she craved, the balance between work and home, between ambition and family. The next morning, Emma made a decision. She was going to make time for herself and for Lily, no matter how busy her schedule became. She would continue to lead the company, but she would no longer let it consume her. That afternoon, she scheduled a meeting with Mr. Parker. He had been a mentor to her, but this time, she needed his advice for something different. When they sat down together, Emma spoke frankly. "I've been thinking a lot about what's important," she began, her voice calm but determined. "And I've realized that I can't keep working the way I have been. I've lost sight of what truly matters, my daughter and my family. I want to continue leading this company, but I need to find a better balance." Mr. Parker listened carefully, his expression thoughtful. "Emma, I'm proud of everything you've done, but I'm even prouder of the fact that you realize the importance of balance. It's not easy, but it's essential. The company needs a strong leader, but your personal life needs you too. It's about finding the right harmony." His words resonated with her. He understood her struggle, and for the first time in a long while, Emma felt a sense of relief. She had been so afraid of disappointing everyone, but now she understood that it was okay to step back when necessary, to focus on what truly mattered. Over the next few weeks, Emma made a concerted effort to spend more time with Lily. They went on weekend trips, spent evenings watching movies together, and simply enjoyed each other's company. At work, she delegated more responsibilities, trusting her team to handle the details while she focused on leading with a clear mind. Slowly but surely, Emma found the balance she had been seeking. She learned that being a great leader didn't mean sacrificing everything for work. It meant leading with heart, with empathy, and with the understanding that family was just as important as business. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Lily turned to Emma with a smile. "I'm really glad you're here, Mom." Emma smiled back, feeling a warmth in her chest that had been missing for so long. "I'm glad I'm here too, honey. And I'm never going to forget how important this time is with you." In that moment, Emma realized that the true measure of her success wasn't in the titles or the accolades. It was in the moments she spent with the people she loved and the life they were building together. As the year came to a close, Emma stood on the balcony of her apartment, looking out over the city that had witnessed so much of her journey. The skyline sparkled in the distance, a symbol of the challenges and victories she had faced. But more importantly, it represented the future she was now building, a future that was shaped by balance, love, and the lessons learned from both triumphs and setbacks. Over the past several months, Emma had transformed. She had not only grown as a business leader but also as a mother, a woman who understood the importance of cherishing the small moments, the quiet evenings spent with Lily, and the joy of simply being present. The company had thrived under her leadership, but her life was no longer defined by work alone. She had found a way to merge her professional success with the love and support of her family, and in doing so, had created something far more meaningful than a career ever could. Lily had noticed the change too. Their time together had become richer, more fulfilling, and Emma no longer felt the constant pressure to prove herself. She had learned that true success was not measured by how many hours she worked, but by the quality of the relationships she nurtured and the joy she found in her own life. One evening, as they sat down to dinner, Lily looked at Emma with a grin that made Emma's heart swell. "Mom, I'm really proud of you," Lily said softly. Emma paused, her fork midair, and met her daughter's gaze. "Why's that, sweetie?" she asked her. Voice gentle. Lily shrugged, her smile never fading. "Because you're always there for me now. You don't just work all the time anymore. You're here, with me. And that makes me really happy." Emma's eyes filled with tears at her daughter's words. It was in those simple moments that Emma knew she had made the right choices. She had always wanted to provide for Lily, to give her everything she didn't have as a child. But now, she realized, it wasn't just about material things. It was about love, presence, and showing up. As the days went by, Emma continued to lead the company with passion and dedication, but she also made time for what mattered most. She made time for her daughter, for herself, and for the quiet moments that brought peace to her soul. And when the year ended, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for how far she had come. She had faced challenges, doubted herself, and struggled to find balance. But in the end, she had created a life that was full of purpose. The future was still uncertain, but Emma knew she was ready for whatever came next. She had the strength, the wisdom, and the love of her family to guide her. And for the first time in a long time, she was not just surviving. She was thriving. Emma looked at Lily, who was now talking excitedly about her plans for the new year, and smiled. No matter where life took her, she knew that the most important thing was right beside her. She had everything she needed to face the future, her family, her heart, and the courage to keep moving forward. Discover the inspiring journey of a single mom who rises through challenges, balancing work and family, while unexpectedly becoming a leader in a millionaire story. From a humble beginning, she takes on the role of a CEO, navigating the high demands of a fast-paced business world while ensuring that her personal life remains rich in love and connection. This millionaire story captures the true essence of perseverance, self-discovery, and the power of kindness that leads to success. As the story unfolds, the protagonist learns the value of balance and family, ultimately realizing that real success isn't just about wealth, but about creating meaningful relationships and making a difference. With each chapter, this millionaire story showcases how ambition and heart can transform one's life, inspiring anyone who dreams of achieving greatness while staying grounded in what truly matters. Whether it's overcoming self-doubt or stepping into a role of leadership, this millionaire story is a reminder that success comes from within and from those we love. Follow this journey of transformation and be inspired by the power of resilience, kindness, and ambition, as one woman discovers what it truly means to live a fulfilling life.